we go. Everything should be good. Looking fine. Let's jump right in. Hey, Chidarin. Let's go. Just a quick reminder for myself. What was the line? A day alone, only that would be death. Okay, okay. Hey, Bea. I don't need that line from the Addams Family to tell me how it feels. After that scene from this morning, my classmates are keeping their distance from me. Usually people would drop by to chat with me during lunch break, but today... As I eat my creamy pumpkin stew, I feel like a caged monkey at the zoo with the horrible skin disease. Dirty looks, yet pitying at the same time. They make me want to be anywhere else but here. I spoon down mouthfuls of the tasteless stew as fast as I can. Sasaki's. Just then the twins sit themselves down opposite me, as though to shield me from the stares. Oh, that's so sweet. And super sweetness. Hey, Moth-chan. Hi, hi.
スープ系だってのは同じだけど、女子力はスオちゃんの方が上っぽいじゃん?
The two of them chat away, as though they haven't noticed the looks I'm getting. Their boisterous chatter serves to ease the tension, however, and the glares soften somewhat.
ありがとう、いちごさん。何が? それよりも早く食べないとシチュー冷めちゃうよ。冷めた料理ほどまずいものはないって。
Erika does say that a lot. Doing as I'm told, I scoop up another big spoonful of stew. The finely blended pumpkin forms a rich and creamy base.
美味しいわ。そんなに? それじゃあ一口私ももらおうかな。これはバターと生クリームを使っているね。いちご姉は食通ぶって。
Watching Ichigo-san happily chow down makes me realize that I'm actually really hungry, and take another bite.
確かにバターと生クリームを使っている気がするわ。それと隠し味で蜂蜜を入れている気が。だよね。ほのかな甘みがあるからそうかなと思ったけど、蜂蜜だったのか。それじゃあもうちょっとだけもらおうかな。ああ、そうじゃ、ほっといて食べられちゃうですよ。いいの、私はイチゴさんのを食べるから。
Leaning forward, I steal a spoonful of her pot of the hint of clam stock in the sauce reminds me of the minestrone soup I once prepared together with my amitie. The memory of happier times brings tears to my eyes. Clenching my fists, I blink rapidly to chase them away.
そうちゃん? いちごさん、リンゴさんは私へ訳を聞かないの?
At my words, the twins look at one another and smile.
だってスオちゃんがそんなひどいことするわけないじゃん。ですです。語るまでもないってやつですよ。
I'm so grateful to them that the tears spring back to my eyes. When I whisper my thanks, they simply smile at me.
エリカ、早く良くなって帰ってくるといいね。
I nod along with her optimistic words, forcing down another mouthful of the suddenly salty soup. Suddenly salty. Oh, she's eating her own tears. Oh no. That night, I have a strange dream. In the dream, I'm wearing my uniform from the academy. I perform a polite bow to the huge audience packed into the hall. Then I put my fingers to the keys of the piano, turn my eyes to the complex sheet music I've never seen before, and begin to play. I'm not nervous to be performing in front of so many people, but I'm not excited either. My fingers simply dance between the black and white keys, fluttering like butterflies. As I'm approaching the end of the first page of sheet music, pale fingers count in front of me to turn the page. Oh no. Oh no. Beside me stands a tall, dark-haired woman. In the dream, I find myself more preoccupied with the girl than with the audience or the difficult music, because there was something familiar about the way she turned the page so precisely. I recall how my stepmother would rap my knuckles with a cane whenever I made a mistake, faint feelings slowly resurging. The silent audience, my fingers moving with a will of their own, the tall girl assisting me with the endless piece. An evasive feeling, not fear, but something else, grows within me. I feel like if I look, it'll all be over, like I'll catch sight of something horrific. The music continues regardless of my will, the piece becoming more and more difficult as it progresses. I feel as though I'm on the verge of losing control, and I can tell that the girl is annoyed at me. My fingers are growing numb, unable to match the level of skill required of me, and I murmur to myself, having played a note that wasn't on the page. No, it wasn't me. I didn't speak. I'm frozen in place, my mouth as dry as the desert. Fearfully, I turn my gaze toward the girl standing beside me. And slowly, the tall, raven-haired woman turns her own hideous smile on me. Is that herself? Yeah, she is me. Oh god, that's the creepiest thing ever. Oh god, A scream wrenches itself from my throat, and I cast my gaze around frantically. Seeing a familiar ceiling and familiar walls, I finally realize that I'm in my dorm room, and relief washes over me. My heart is still hammering loudly in my chest. I want to lie back and try to relax, but I'm too scared to close my eyes again. I don't want to see the rest of the dream. Taking several deep breaths, I look at the watch I keep beside my bed and see that it's 2:20 a.m. Now that I'm feeling calmer, I notice that my whole body is drenched in sweat. I want to change into something fresh, but I don't want to wake my amitié partner asleep in the bunk beneath mine, so I stay where I am. The thought of waking Rika-san with my descent down the ladder and having her see me fills me with dread. I'm disgusted to think that my face could twist itself into such an awful leer. Perhaps I'm slowly turning into the person I never wanted to be. A thought occurs to me that in that early hour, silent as the grave. Perhaps I'm turning into her. Why would you be turning into her? What? Staring into my stepmother's resentful eyes as she peers over the bed at me. Super creepy as well. Her bony fingers curled over the edge. I hug my knees to my chest and wait for day to break. When I look into Takasaki-san's eyes, it feels like I'm looking into my stepmother's. Ichigo-san stands between us to talk to me, blocking her glare, but I still feel as depressed as ever. Even as Ichigo-san chatters happily, Ringo-san joining in the conversation from the seat in front. I can still feel Takasaki-san's gaze boring into me accusingly from behind them. No, that's not all. It's not just the way that her eyes remind me of my stepmother's. I've been telling lie after lie and treating it as nothing, and I'm fast reaching my limit. All my lies are like a black river of sludge that keeps rising and rising and is now about to burst its banks. Okay, so she feels guilty for holding back the information from them. There's nothing else for it. I have to channel it somewhere, but where? During my introspection, Sister Basket has arrived in the classroom, and now she addresses us all from in front of her desk. Rika-san stands up and performs the morning greeting. leads us in a prayer, then returns to her seat. The school day begins like any other.
農場の管理ですが、
Sister Basket informs us that harvesting will be difficult due to the unusual amount of snowfall this year. Then, as homeroom is drawing to a close,
そろそろ演劇会のことも決めなければいけませんね。
harvesting, what would they be harvesting in the end of winter? Okay. She announces.
ダリア先生、演劇会って何ですか？来月に行われる上級生の送別会に催されるものです。これは在校生1年生が学院を去る3年生を送る祭事なのですよ。
Such a great thing that you never know in advance that you need to do it. You just find out about it in the nick of time and you have to prepare for it.
ねえ、そうちゃん、送別会って卒業式みたいなもの？卒業式はまた別であったと思うけれど。送別会は言うなれば卒業生を送る会ですね。佐々木さんの学校ではありませんでしたか？送る会、ありました。
Everyone laughs affectionately as Ichiko-san waves her hand in the air. Still a farewell party.
なんだか子供みたい。
Having said that, I was only very recently reminded that I am still, in fact, a child. It's easy to forget when everyone acts so mature. I think the idea is great. It's awesome to have those kinds of events at the end of such a cycle, such an important cycle in someone's life. It's a big moment, right? So having taking any occasion to make like nice memories and tie a nice bow on everything and the whole experience and be able to say goodbye with a smile and stuff like that. That's great. I just don't understand why it's always the case that they find out, oh, you have to take care of this event. It's in, I don't know, 2 weeks. Prepare. Why is it always like this? Like, why do they never know in advance? Hey, the end of the year is coming. The first years usually do this, so probably we will be doing it. Let's try to, figure it out. No. It's always like a surprise.
演劇会ですが、演目は決まっているのですか？私が指定しても良いのですが、何かやりたい演目はありますか？
Sister Basket asks the class. It's probably in the pamphlet only Rika has ever read. Yeah, okay, sure, but then if it's not common knowledge among the entire body of the first class students, the first year students, you'd think maybe, the teacher, the adult that knows about it would be a bit, better at like telling them with, enough time ahead. Everyone turns to their neighbors, discussing ideas.
委員長である花火師さんは何か演じてみたい演目はあるかしら？
See, this is really on the spot. Let's decide right now what play we're going to do. You never knew until 5 minutes ago that we were supposed to do it, but now we should be able to decide. Flustered, she sends a look my way. Sister Basket smiles.
白羽さんはどうかしら？
Oh wait, that was so weird. I kept scrolling and like nothing was happening and the text appeared and disappeared and finally I get a choice. I can't think of anything. Can it be a contemporary play? Ooh, the second would be nice. Yeah, that's the option. Great.
私ですか？ごめんなさい。急だったかしら？
You think? Maybe you could have been like, oh, hey, by the way, you're gonna be doing this at the end of the term. Just giving you a heads up and make sure you take the time to think about it. And on this day, we will decide what play you're going to do, Wouldn't that have made a lot more sense? But no, it's always like this. Sister Basket gives me an apologetic look and I shake my head, racking my brain for a good candidate. A fairy tale, but perhaps that would be too childish, then...
現代劇とかはダメでしょうか? 現代劇?
She parrots the word and I feel my cheeks grow hot. It was the first thought that came to mind when trying to think of a more mature approach, but it's probably not appropriate for a leaving party. Before I can backpedal, Ichiko-san stands up from the seat in front of me, hand raised in the air.
現代劇ってラブロマンスとかだよね。だったら私がヒロインで主人公役はそうちゃんがいいな。いいよね、そうちゃん。
She declares to the class at large.
まだ決まっているわけじゃないから。でも、そうちゃんが脚本を書くんでしょ? 毎回私が書くことに決まっているの?
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Now every time there's some sort of play or recital or recitation or something involved, it's Sua's job to write the script. Why can't people who never contribute to this contribute now? Ay, ay, ay. Poor Sua.
そうちゃん美人だから男装も似合うよ。ほら、髪の毛はポニーテールにしてさ。
I would love to see that, to be fair, but gosh, no pressure. Thinking of her, I shake my head.
どうしたの? 気持ちは嬉しいけれど、もう少しよく考えてみるわ。
Under the expectant gazes of my classmates, I rack my brain again, thinking back on the performances we've done so far. The recitation, the ballet recital... I already discarded the idea, but now I revisit it. The fairy tales of Charles Perrault and the Brothers Grimm could be appreciated by the older students. Oh. I speak the name of the Grimm fairy tale that comes to mind.
何かいい案を思いついたの? そのグリム童話のマリアの子供はどうかなと思って。
Ichigo-san asks what it's about, and I give a summary. Ichigo-san seems to think it a fitting play for a mission school like ours and suggests to Sister Basket that we consider it. A brief, almost imperceptible look of sadness flashes over her features.
その演目は以前やったことがあるの。別のものにしましょう。
While I feel that there was something strange about her reaction, it's not something I can bring up. I mean, sure, maybe it was performed, but it was performed by a different class of first years to a different class of third years, so... And how are they supposed to know what was performed in the past? They just found out they needed to do this thing 10 minutes ago. Sister Basket lets the class chatter for a moment, watching benevolently over us as a mother might watch her children.
演目については宿題にしましょう。それと今日はもう一つ報告があります。
A murmur runs through the room. Sister Basket casts her gaze over us, smiling genially.
喜ばしい報告です。怪我をした八重垣さんですが、今日にも退院が決まり、学院に戻ってくることになりました。
She tells us. I hesitate before I've even put my hand to the doorknob. When I at last do reach out for it, I pause again. I need time to screw up the courage to open the door in front of me. It's not like it's your fault. What are you thinking? What is she tormenting herself about? I don't get it. To me, Erika-san's injury was the worst thing that could have happened. Yeah, sure, of course, but it wasn't your fault. The mysteries of the academy I'd gone to such lengths to keep hidden transformed themselves into the figures of Yuzuriha Yatsushiro and Nerine Komikado, and they hurt my friend. It's exactly what I was trying to avoid. I'm angry at myself, not because all those lengths I took were ultimately a waste of time, but because I allowed her to get hurt for my own pathetic sake. Hearing a questioning voice behind me, I tightened my grip on the doorknob. My stepmother. She whispers into my ear, and then I feel her bony fingers glide over mine. I don't look back at her, but I can tell that she's grinning. Bolstered by my best friend, I take a deep breath and step over the threshold. As soon as I step into the room, I see her. Aw, hello. She's sitting up in bed, chatting with Takasaki-san.
ああ、遅い到着だったな。見舞いに来てくれないかと思ったぜ。
A feline smile curls across Erika Yagaki's lips as she addresses me.
エリカさん。
Aww, Hagu. Oh, this is so sweet. Aww. My heart. Yes, she's okay. Aww.
あ、ちょっと
Jealous Chidori.
ごめんなさい。私のせいで。バカだな。お前のせいなんかじゃない。
I was hoping she would say that. I feel her hand stroking my head, comforting me. I don't deserve it.
でも、あいつらのためにお前が泣く必要なんかないんだよ。ジョイと私がドジっちまっただけのことだ。ごめんなさい。もう謝るな。悪いと思ってるなら元気な顔を見せてくれ。
Her voice is soft and close to my ear. Close in my ear. When I nod, she releases me from her embrace, and I pull back to look her in the face.
なんだ、私よりひどい顔をしてるじゃないか。大丈夫なの？ああ、撃ったのが頭だったんで、大事を取って調べてもらっただけさ。でかい単行部ができただけだよ。
Yeah, she's hard-headed. She's fine. She laughs it off, and I'm finally able to muster a small smile too.
使いなさい。涙。
It's only now that I realize I'm crying. I accept the handkerchief from Takasaki-san, breathing in the scent of peaches as I wipe my eyes.
ありがとう。別に。っていうか、さっきからなんで袖を掴んでるのよ。保険だよ。このプリンシパル様はすぐカッとなって殴り倒しに行くから。
Were you afraid that he was gonna beat Suo up?
殴るなんてしないわよ。さっきまで佐々木姉妹を前に息巻いてただろうが。あいつらも来てたぜ。委員長とお前が来る少し前に帰ったけどな。
She flashes Takasaki-san a snarky cat-like smile as the other girl shakes her hand off her sleeve.
それで、本当に頭の方は大丈夫なの？頭大丈夫とか失礼なやつだな、おい。そういう意味じゃないわ。頭に包帯でも巻いてりゃもっとチヤホヤされたかもしれないが、血が出たわけでもなかったからな。でも頭を打ったんでしょ。血が出ない方が危ないって聞くわよ。だから一日検査入院したんだよ。それにこれだけ口が回るんだ。もう安心だろ。そうね。
The two of them smile genially at one another, but Takasaki-san is still tense. Now she tugs at Erika's sleeve, insistent that she finally offer an explanation.
真実が知りたいのか。そうよ。そうかい。ならサルトルを読め。答えはそこに書いてある。
What? How are you gonna... What? Erika-san tries to evade with her usual banter, but Takasaki-san doesn't release her sleeve. Scratching her eyebrow, she stares intently at me and then at Takasaki-san.
白羽のせいじゃない。分かってるわ、そんなこと。でも何があったのか、エリカの口から聞きたいの。
Erika-san scratches at her eyebrow again, then looks at the three of us in turn.
私が子供の頃。
What?
茶化すのはよして。真面目な話だよ。お前には以前少し話したことがあるが、親父との確執の話だ。
Where is she going with this? What? Erika-san rarely ever talks about her past. I wait with bated breath for her to go on.
誕生日と聞くと、まずはプレゼントを思い起こすだろうが、うちでの誕生日プレゼントは 物じゃなく思い出を送るってのが通例だった。
Okay.
ぬいぐるみとかではなく、そんな女っぽいもの一度ももらった覚えはないよ。例えば初めてキャンプに連れて行ってくれたり、海で波乗りを教えてくれたりとかさ。楽しそうね。二人の姉は普通に物がいいって言ってたけどな。で、ある時父が私の誕生日に野球観戦に連れて行ってくれることになったんだ。そういえばエリカ野球好きだものね。まあな。だから初めて球場に連れて行ってもらえて嬉しかったし興奮したよ。いいゲームで延長戦までも連れ込んで。
By the time we were heading home, it was pretty late. She continues, a faraway look in her eyes as she recalls the excitement of that day.
車で家へと帰る途中、親父とプレイについて話したりして盛り上がったよ。信号で止まるたび、親父は身振り手振りを交えて話してくれて。
I can picture that.
信号待ちをしているその時に事故に遭ったんだ。
She strokes her legs under the sheets, and we all listen in silence, knowing where this is going. Oh, I did not expect to get that backstory.
止まっているところを後ろから追突されたのさ。親父は無傷だったが、私は運悪くこうなっちまった。エリカさん。おっと、別に同情されたくて話したわけじゃない。過ぎたことだ。
Although her feline smile hasn't wavered, it seems to me like she's forcing herself to keep it in place. Or perhaps that's just my imagination.
お父さんが許せないのね。いや。
How is it his fault, though? It's the car that we rented them, no?
でも、確執って。確執ってのは、互いに自分の意見を強く主張して譲らないこと。そのために生じる行き違いを言うんだよ。それじゃあ。あれは不運な事故だった。私は気にしちゃいなかったが、親父は自分を責めて、仕事ばかりであまり家に帰らなくなった。そして、たまに家に戻った時に私と会うと、悲しそうな顔をするんだよ。そんな顔を見たくないし、させたくない。だから私は、この学院に来ることを望んだんだ。
We say nothing as Erika-san reveals her past, this part of herself she most wanted to keep hidden. Silence descends upon the room. Only the occasional noise from the snowstorm battering the window breaks it.
私がこの話をしたのは、恋でないことについて恨む理由なんてない。不運ってのは、誰の身にも起こりうるんだってことだ。白羽を夜中の図書室に呼び出したのは私だし、怪我をしたのも今となってみれば不運だったからだ。でもあれは白羽さんを呼び出した理由は何？不運って何があったの？呼び出した理由は言えない。
I don't know. They keep spinning in these like vicious circles of deciding not to tell other people things. When I think everything would be so much smoother if they would just make a united front and tell each other what is happening and help each other. I really don't know if this is like a useful constellation of things being known versus unknown, mostly unknown to the others. It's just when will we get to the point where they can actually talk openly about stuff? I don't understand why this needs to be hidden or something. I don't know. Maybe it's her way of protecting Chidori, but I'm sure she would want to know and help. Rika would also want to know and help, and I think it would be all much more efficient when you have more people putting their heads together, right? But anyway, okay.
だが、不運の方は話すよ。 私が怪我をしたのは八代ゆずりはと小帝ネリネのせいだ。
For a moment, confusion clouds Takasaki-san's features, but then her expression twists and she bears down on Erika-san.
茶化して楽しいの？笑ってないだろ。それはそうだけれど、本当なの？どうせ私は12モンキーズだ。信じはしないだろうさ。
Her cynical smile is so reminiscent of the girl we're talking about. The other two look to me in confusion, their gazes questioning. I nod.
あの夜、図書室に現れたのは八代ゆずりはと小帝ネリネだった。まさか八代先輩と小帝先輩が学院へ戻ってきている？おい、私の時は信じないのになんで白羽の時は信じるんだよ。自分から12モンキーズだって言ってたでしょ。今までの自分の行動を胸に手を当てて思い出してごらんなさい。
Erika-san shrugs. My media partner turns to me asking whether it's true that the two upperclassmen were responsible for for Erika-san's injury.
怪我をしたのは確かに2人のせいだけれど。ま、逃げようとした八代ゆずりはを掴んで離さなかったってのもあるがね。あの2人が信じられない。人が変わったみたいだったよ。まるでシャイニングのジャック・トランスバリの変わりようだった。
Everyone is quiet. It's like they're ruminating on her words, trying to rationalize what's occurred. The two older girls left a big impression on all of us.
さて、私は正直に話した。打ち明け話までしたんだ。だから、白羽、お前も正直に話してもらうぜ。なぜあの二人が学院へ戻ってきているんだ？それは。
I shake my head. I'm not intentionally hiding anything, but Erika-san ruffles her hair roughly in confusion.
それじゃあ、もう一つの質問だ。あの時、八代ゆずりはが言った、真実の女神に近づいてはならないという真意は何だ？
Now is the time. Spill your guts, please. Please.
ニカイアの会の会長だけの秘密っていうアガペのタルパについては。タルパ？それって私たちが手伝っていた。手伝って？
Remembering that she was supposed to keep this a secret from Rika-san, Takasaki-san shuts up with a look like she's just bitten into a lemon. Just say everything, please. Just put it out into the open. I can't take this anymore. Obviously, you also can't keep track of the things that you're supposed to know or to keep a secret of or so. Like, just, yeah. Let's get this over with. Please. But revealing the information about the goddess of truth I've come across in my quest to get Mairi back would mean getting them all involved in it. I don't care what happens to me, but my friends... good question.
お前は自分の抱える事情に巻き込めないなんてめめしいことを考えているんだろうな。そんなものは今更なんだよ。
Mind reader Erika.
ここまで来て巻き込む巻き込まないもない。映画館でラスト10分で席を立つバカがいるか？そういうことだよ。な。
I like that. I like that. She jerks her chin toward Takasaki-san and Erika-san, who both smile at me.
私もエリカと同じ意見よ。ここまで来て何も知らされないなんて。エリカさん、高崎さん、私はスオさんの力になりたい。その気持ちはずっと変わらない。
Erika-san clasps my hand, her words earnest. Fighting back the emotions welling up in me, I nod.
泣くことなんてない。私は何があってもスオさんの味方だから。
I realize that tears are running down my cheeks. I wipe them away, but more take their place. There's no stopping these emotions from flowing out of me. The black sludge that has caked up within me is washed away, leaving in its place only grateful joy. Okay, there we go. I decide there and then to tell my best friends all about what happened in spring and the events that began in summer. Thank you. Thank you. Finally. Jeez. The tears of overwhelming gratitude finally stop, and I haltingly begin my tale.
なぜ八代ゆずりはと小帝ネリネの二人が私の前に現れたのか。それは私がマユリを取り戻そうと決意したからなの。
Both Erika-san and Takasaki-san already know this, but I never expressly told my Amitia partner.
やっぱりそうだったの。
She murmurs, looking down at the ground.
ごめんなさい、リッカさん。いつか話さなくちゃいけないと思っていたけれど。
こいつも悪気があって黙っていたんじゃない。ただ物事にはタイミングってのがあってだな。
そうよ、ないがしろにしていたわけではないわ。
She blinks as the other two girls back me up.
もしかして気を使ってもらっているのかもしれないけれど、私気にしてなんかいないわよ。
そうなのか。
なんというか、今までのことが腑に落ちたので過去のこととかを思い返していただけよ。
本当に？
本当よ。私もスオさんはマユリを探すための準備をしているんだろうなって思っていたし。そうなの？ええ。だって前に出るのが苦手なスオさんがニカイアの会の会長に立候補するだなんて、マユリのことが絡んでいるとしか思えなかったもの。
Tears well up in my eyes once again as I realize that she's known all along. This time it's Rika-san who lends me a handkerchief to wipe them away. The fabric is impregnated with a comfortingly familiar citrus scent.
それでマユリを取り戻すってどういうこと？家に戻ってこいって言った家族の方と話をつけるとか？
No, actually, it has to do with a lot of things that seemingly are not related, or like we can't tell how they're freaking related. I shake my head at her pragmatic question, then tell her that at first I simply wanted a reason.
何も言わずに消えてしまったことが信じられなかった。だから取り戻すということよりも訳を知りたかったの。
Erika-san nods. I continue on, telling her how Erika-san had encouraged me when I felt hopeless.
やっぱりそうだったのね。収穫祭が終わった頃、つきものが落ちたような顔をしていたものね。
She offers words of thanks to Erika-san, who scratches her head awkwardly. I watch their exchange affectionately.
訳を知るためにたくさんの人から話を聞いたわ。
I tell her how I first went to Sister Basket and how she wouldn't tell me anything except that it was a sudden decision. Then I explain how I moved on to the students close to Mairi, particularly those in the art club.
マユリ、美術部員だったものね。ええ。だから学院を去る前に何か部員の間にだけ話したことがないかを調べたの。
From them, I heard that she had painted several oil paintings. I explained how something about this tugged at my mind. How I wondered whether there might be some kind of clue hidden in those
絵の
paintings.
中にヒントが？マユリが何かを残して。
I nod and recount how I tried to get permission to see the paintings, but was denied. Finding myself at a dead end, I...
呆れた。あのフックマン騒動はあなたが引き起こしたことだったの？
Rika-san too blinks in surprise, reflexively fiddling with her braids. It's plain from Erika-san's gaze that this comes as no revelation to her, though.
委員長にはないユーモアのセンスがある。
Erika-san moves the conversation on with some banter, and I flash her a look of gratitude. Then I tell them about the 3 paintings I found upon sneaking into the art room, and about the words written on one of them.
天に行われるごとく、地に行われるように。
That phrase was a message left to me by Mairi. I explained how I went to a certain someone to ask about the meaning of those words.
その相手って八代ゆずりは先輩よ。
I tell them how we met in the chapel at night and that the words Mary left me were a plea for help. I tell them that there was another hookman. Then I explain how the incident in spring when Yatsushiro-senpai was hit in the head was no accident, that it was a culprit behind it.
そいつは本当なのか？ええ。私はその八代譲り派を殴打した犯人が真由を害したもの、真実の女神だと思っているわ。
真実の女神？
彼女はこう言ったわ。この学院には神がいる。もう一人の女神が、と。
八代先輩から真実の女神の名前を聞いたの？
I recount how Yatsushiro-senpai told me that I was better off not knowing.
でもそんなことで引き下がるお前じゃない。ええ。だから食い下がったわ。自分はどうなったっていい。真実の女神に害されようとも構わない。だから真実を教えてくださいって。
An awkward silence descends upon the room. Pausing in my faltering retelling of events, I lift my face to look around the group.
自分がどうなってもいいだなんて。二度、ええ。ねえ、スオさん。何度でも言うわ。私たちは、スオさんのための盾になる。どんな火の粉からだって、絶対に守ってみせるわ。
Their words hit me in the gut. I feel tears in my eyes again for the umpteenth time today.
恥ずかしいセリフは禁止だ。
素直じゃないわね。
Cute.
いいか同文ってやつだよ。でだ、食い下がるお前に八代譲り派は条件を提示したんだろ。真実を知りたいのなら二階屋の会の会長を引き継げってな。
I nod. Rika-san's eyes widen and Takasaki-san grimaces.
ええ、取引を受け入れた私は真由のことを調べながら並行して二階屋の会の会長となるべく行動を始めた。
そんな取引があったなんて。
リッカさんは何も言わずに私を支えると言って副会長に立候補してくれたわよ。
アミティエとして当然のことだわ。
As she puffs her chest out proudly, Erika-san pulls a grossed out face, then raises an eyebrow at me, urging me to continue.
前会長の提示した条件を満たした私は彼女へ真実を尋ねに行った。ところがその言いざまだと最初は保護にされた。
I nod, but something must have caused her to reconsider, because she summoned me to Iznik just before Christmas Mass.
八代先輩と小帝先輩が学院を去る当日ね。
And that was when she brought her lips to my ear and gave me what she'd promised.
高坂真由を求めるなら君は真実の女神に近づくことになる。女神にたどり着くための鍵はアガペのタルパ。
アガペ、神学でいうところの不朽の愛。私たちが探してきたな。
彼女はこう続けました。アガペのタルパは失われた始まりの七不思議だ。始まりの七不思議。
Everyone falls silent, perhaps feeling that same sensation of nails scratching at their insides that I felt upon first hearing that name. It was the sensation of encountering something long missed, something so repulsive you never want to see it again.
この名は二階屋の会の会長だけが受け継いできた名だと。そしてこう続けたの。
知っているかい、スオ君。マリア像の足元はね、蛇を踏みつけているんだ。蛇は悪魔の象徴だ。タルパはマリア様が踏みつけている蛇だと思え。僕は先代からそう教えてもらった。
I still have zero clue what any of this means.
タルパはヘビ。
Wasn't the Talpa like some sort of abstract experience kind of thing? How can you take it to it? I don't understand. Take it to be the snake beneath the feet. How is this? How is that the snake? What does it mean? I don't know.
その話でいくと、蛇は害するもののメタファーのようにも感じるわ。害するものというなら真実の女神。
委員長はヘビイコールアガペのタルパで、それが真実の女神であると。
そうは断言できないけれど、感触というか。スオさんはアガペのタルパをどう捉えているの？
Nothing definite. A plant that offers protection from snakes. What? A plant? Apparently that's the option, but I...
正直まだ確定的なことは言えないわ。
そう。
But there is one thing that randomly popped into my mind.
祖父が以前教えてくれた。ある植物は蛇や毒を持った悪しき生き物を避けるお守り代わりになるって。
その植物って？
カタバミよ。
Okay.
カタバミって寮長のこと？
カタバミはフランスやスペインでハレルヤとも呼ばれている。訳すると主を褒めたたえよ。だが
Umineko was a trial run for this. Yeah, I was definitely supposed to know that. I've never heard of this kind of plant. How would I have known? Erika-san's look reminds me that this is nothing more than conjecture.
ごめんなさい。ちゃんとした答えが出なくて。
でもカタバミ寮長の名字にそんな意味がね。天の計らいは不思議ね。
The Lord works in mysterious ways. Something about Rika-san's words niggles at me. Something important.
いや、まだ決める時ではない。固定観念は考えを狭めてしまうわ。しかし、アガペのタルパか。始まりの七不思議だって話だが、違和感があるの。
どうして？
以前話した気もするが、タルパはチベットの精神修行の際に起きるとされる現象の一つだ。ミッション
Yeah,
スクール
exactly.
には
Like, how is
縁遠い
this even,
だろ。
like...
確かにそうね。
白羽はどう考えてるんだ？年間のアガペのタルパが載っていたとされるページだけが破かれていたし。
In the back of my mind, I hear the words of the ex-president on the day I took over the presidency. That name is written here.
だから確かなことは言えないけれど、
I agree with her that something feels off.
真実の女神に至る鍵としてアガペのタルパの名を教えてくれた後でこうも言った。温室で怪我をしたのは事故ではないと。それじゃ誰かに襲われた。明言はしなかったけれど、そして
It's hard for me to say this with her staring at me so dubiously.
八代譲り葉はもう一つの鍵を私へ渡してくれた。それは一枚のメモ帳に彼女自身が書き込んでくれた場所よ。
In response to her questioning looks, to their questioning looks, I go on to tell them that I found a place in the note out in the forest away from the academy, without revealing its exact
彼女が
location.
教えてくれた場所はずいぶん前に焼け落ちてしまった聖堂跡だった。ちょっと待て。この学院の聖堂以外にそんなものが？ええ、学院の位置と規模を考えて焼け落ちた聖堂は補佐的な、もしくは何か重要な祭事にだけ使われるものだったんじゃないかしら。
でも焼け落ちた聖堂が鍵だなんて全く意味がわからないわ。火事を引き起こしたものが真実の女神とか。
I hadn't thought of that. When I fall silent in contemplation, I hear a muttered, "Are you serious?" from Erika-san.
違うわ。もしかしたらと可能性を考えていただけよ。なんだ。それじゃあそっちも不発ってわけか。
She directs her feline smile at me, and for a second I wonder whether I should tell them about the grave I found outside the chapel, and the name carved on the tombstone.
バスケや教養を敬愛しているエリカさんにどうやって？火事にあった聖堂以外で収穫があったようだな。 気づいてないだろうが顔に出てる。隠そうとするときは眉間にシワが寄るんだ。
She can't read you. Do not ever play poker with her. I rub at the furrow between my eyebrows and her lips curl further into a crescent
や
moon.
っぱりエリカさんにはかなわないわ。プロの嘘つきだからな。で、何を見つけたんだ？
Despite my hesitancy, I knew in the moment I decided to tell them about my quest for Mighty that I would have to relate this to.
旧聖堂を調べていて、渡されたメモ帳の印をつけていた箇所が気になったの。燃えた旧聖堂から離れた場所にチェックを入れてることに。それで私は旧聖堂を抜け、印のあった場所へと向かった。そこには庭床の木に隠されるように、守られるようにして、そこに書かれていた名前はシオン・バスキア。
After I speak the name, a tense silence descends upon the room. The only noise comes from the wind scrabbling at the window pane like an old rabid dog trying to get in.
シオン・バスキアだと。
She repeats the name in a creaking voice that bites down on her lip in a gesture quite unlike her. Perhaps her thoughts have led her to the worst conclusion.
エリカさん。
What is the worst conclusion?
シオン・バスキア。八代先輩が示した鍵ってことは、
その先は聞きたくない。
Faced with Erika-san's pained expression, even Takasaki-san can't bring herself to say any more. Her suspicions clearly point to Sister Dahlia, who shares the same surname. I'm certain she knows something, but...
もしバスキア教諭にシオン・バスキアのことを尋ねる時が来たら。
well, about that. I can't refuse my friend's plea. I nod, hesitant but firm, aware that this is the best option. Yeah, but like, you already initiated some sort of conversation around it, haven't you?
シオン・バスキアはともかく、アガペのタルパ。私にはそれが鍵だと言われても意味がわからないわ。
Yeah, I also don't understand anything, Chidori.
今までその2つに由来するものから追っていたけれど、手詰まりになってしまっていたの。今のところの手がかりは2人へ頼んだ文献だけ。
そう。
The silence stretches out again, piling up like the snow outside to muffle any potential sound. It's so quiet I almost suspect that if I strained my ears, I'd be able to hear the others breathing.
そういえば花火師さんは今のお話を聞いて何かひらめいたことは。
She stops, the rest of the word hanging unspoken in the air. I raise my face from where I've been staring a hole into my shoes.
リッカさん。
Following Takasaki-san's gaze, I see my Amitia partner frozen as still as a statue.
おい、どうした？虫でも見つけたか？虫？
違うわ。
While that reassures me she's still frozen, I'm reaching out my hand toward her when she speaks.
私、シオン・バスキアのことを知っているわ。
Oh my god! And this whole time we've been keeping it a secret and being like, oh, we need to not involve Rika, we need to protect her, we need to like bang our heads against the walls over and over again. And Rika's like, oh, I know about that. Oh god. Okay, spill. What's up with that?
今聞いたからでしょ？
My Amitia partner looks from Takasaki-san to Erika-san and then to me as though searching for our faces for some kind of sign. No, she knows differently. Great plot. Yes.
スオさんのお話を聞く。ずっと前から。彼女。シオン・バスキアのことを知っていたの。
She tells the stunned room. Oh no, don't fade to black. No, don't leave me hanging. No. A relationship, I think, is like a shark, you know? It has to constantly move forward or it dies. Interesting metaphor. Like, I understand the part at the end, but like a shark? Okay. That line from the movie Annie Hall left a strong impression on me. Rika-san, Erika-san, Takasaki-san, and me. The four of us slip out of the dormitories, impatient and anxious as maidens sneaking out for rendezvous with their lovers. It's not quite the middle of the night, and the still rising moon looks down on us, bathing us in a cold, eerie white light. Shining through the clear winter sky, the bright light glances off the snow-covered ground. A biting cold slices through our many layers of clothes.
さっさと行こうぜ。風邪をひいちまうよ。
Nodding my agreement, I start to lead us down the same route I used when I pretended to be the Green Hookman. Well, you didn't pretend to be, you were just interpreted to be by other people, but okay. After you've followed the path for a while, it cuts through the forest and brings you to the corridor that connects to the club building. That's not our final destination, however.
風がないだけでも全然違うわね。寒いはずなのに暖かく感じるわ。
おい。
何？
鍵を開けてくれた功労者にねぎらいの言葉はないのか？
エリカさん、いつもありがとう。
I thank her for yet again putting her lockpicking skills to use to open the door at the rear of the academy. Erika-san puffs out her chest proudly, telling her Amitia that such acknowledgement is important.
すごい！やっぱり夜の学校って雰囲気あるわね。
Haha, don't say that. Erika's gonna freak out.
聞いてねえし。ま、怪談物で夜の学校なんて定番中の定番だものな。怖い話好きの白羽からしたらたまらないシチュエーションだよな。
I'm not into scary stories. I half expect to see the twins from The Shining pop. I'd say this, but yeah, that's the one. I look down the corridor into the impenetrable darkness ahead.
シャイニングの双子の幽霊が出てきそうだものね。
Is Erika with them though? Because like I don't see her. I murmur.
そうよね。みんなで深夜の学校探検ができると思ってなかったから嬉しいわ。
声を抑えろ。委員長が怒って。
Yeah, I was about to say. Poor Rika. Rika-san is staring down at the ground in silence, realizing that I shouldn't be joking around, especially considering what we're about to do. I go over to her and tell her I'm sorry. Suddenly, Rika-san throws her arms around me and I let out a squeal. I quickly cast a look around, but I don't see any shadowy figures lurking in the dark.
別に怖い話が苦手なわけじゃないけれど。スオさん、手が冷たいわ。冷えないように手をつないでいきましょう。
Okay. All I can do is nod. I've memorized the times the teachers make their patrols, so I know that we don't have time to
では、
lose.
早く向かいましょう。
The others nod and we move as a group toward the place where my Mitia partner learned of Shion Basket. The heavy darkness has heightened my other senses. A sound from behind makes me look back, and everyone looks curiously in the same direction. It's the shelf with the disgusting butterfly specimens. Here we are. This is the room that Rika Hanabishi, my precious Amitia partner, told us was where she learned of Shion Basket. Shion Basket was a woman. Originally, I simply made the assumption that Shion Basket was Sister Basket's adoptive father. Now a clearer picture of the person behind the name is emerging.
標本室。烏森みどり教諭。
The teacher who once sought to use the seven mysteries, to use Bloody Mary, to frame Nerine Komikado out of a misplaced sense of love.
私がこの標本室でシオンバスキアを知ったのは偶然だったの。
With that, she goes over to the shelf of specimens and moves a dried butterfly to the side.
これが花火師さんが話していた。
シオンバスキアのことが書かれている。
Seeing the letters sealed in specimen jars, I now understand how Yatsushiro Senpai was able to find her way to the goddess of
おそら
truth.
く八代ゆずり葉は烏森みどり教諭を調べていく過程でこの標本瓶を見つけた。そしてシオン・バスキアの名を知った。
With a practiced hand, Rika-san picks up a jar, unstoppers it, and pulls out a rolled-up sheet of paper.
始まりの手紙よ。手紙を標本にしてずっと思いをとどめておきたかったのね。傷つけないように丁寧に読んであげて。
ええ。私が欲したものは決して手に入らない。
Okay, familiar words. The opening line of the letter almost makes me cry out. They are the very same words I've spoken to myself. I felt that same feeling so strongly when I lost Mayuri. I've been tortured by it since long before even then.
手紙の書き手がシオン・バスキア。
The penmanship has a distinct feminine flair. To think that what I'm holding in my hands was written by a girl who grappled with the exact same feelings as me. My vision narrows, honing in on the page. My eyes track the delicate letters. The letter describes Shion Basket's emotions as she first arrived at St. Angrecum Academy. She tells of the anxiety she felt wondering whether she would fit in. Her worries about living in a dormitory even though she was resolved to put her family situation behind her.
私と同じだ。
And then, the meeting beneath the cherry trees washed away all her fears like a receding wave. The girl's long black hair, her pale skin, the way the moonlight shone on her perfect statuesque features, all of it seemed so unreal to her. That girl's name was...
貴船さゆり。
And another new name, okay, Sayuri. Sounds like Mairi. My emotions are thrown into turmoil. Wasn't their first meeting an exact replica of mine and Mayuri's? There in the clean, quiet specimen room, where time may as well have stopped, I feel as though I've slipped into a fairy tale.
どうした？
Having finished reading, I tell Erika-san that it's nothing and I pass her the first letter. Then I pick up the second letter. The second letter details her relationship with Sayuri Kifune. Her wish came true and they were assigned to each other as amitié partners. She talks about how Sayuri enthusiastically tutored her in her weaker subjects. How, when they paired up for orienteering, Sayuri went out of her way to help her after her own foolish pride led to a sprained ankle. This is creepy now. What? The incident created a bond of friendship between them, and soon Sayuri, who was an adept ballet dancer, began giving Shion dance lessons. With each strange coincidence, I feel more and more untethered from reality. Yeah, this is creepy. These are all things I experienced with Mairi. And then...
シオン・バスキアは貴船さゆりに惹かれていた。
When she writes of her bewilderment at her growing feelings for her amitié partner, my chest grows tight. The thing I want, I will never have. That opening line fills me with anxiety. I can imagine where this is leading. I pick up the last specimen jar and start to read the letter it contains. Sensing something different about the choice of words and syntactic rhythm, I glance down to check the name signed at the bottom.
最後の手紙は貴船さゆりが書いたものだわ。
What does this mean? The other letters were all written by Shion Basket to her amitié partner Sayuri. Only this final letter is written by Sayuri herself. Why? A particularly ominous feeling surfaces from the tumult of emotion I'm experiencing. I continue reading.
聖母祭。
The name of that event is taboo to me now. I bite my lip as the name sinks into me like cold sludge. Then, shaking my head to rid myself of my reaction, I return my eyes to the letter. The letter tells how Sayuri wasn't chosen to play Mary at the feast. That role went to Shion Basket. And that led to the first little tear in the seams of their relationship. The fact that Shion Basket was chosen over Sayuri, class president and number one in terms of grades, had the whole class unsettled. At first, she admonished her classmates for their gossip, but she goes on to admit that she wasn't too pleased herself. Eventually, she snapped over something trivial and hurtful words were exchanged. She was always confident in her ballet skills, but in her quest for perfection, she failed the exam. Shion passed with flying colors, and so the gulf between them widened. Her writing now wavers as though the hand that committed it to the page was shaking. Her regret is palpable. I knew how hard she'd worked for it, so I wasn't upset. But I realized then that we had grown too close. Because of our closeness, I couldn't stand to see those subtle cracks. And I suppose those little tears looked like something else at such close range. I don't expect forgiveness from my amitié. After all, I was the one who first reached out my hand to her, yet now there I was, pulling out of her grip. Tears spring to my eyes. I can feel Sayuri's pain as she relates how she desperately wanted to make up. The letter ends with several scrawled lines. Of course, I should have faced up to her. I should have apologized and made things right. But because of my own willful stubbornness, my amitié is gone, and I will never see her again. Rest in peace, my beloved Shion. When I've finished reading the final letter, I'm left in a daze. All that remains within me is a sense of incomparable grief and contrition. I feel as though Sayuri's soul is working through me to give form to her regret. I've been so thoroughly absorbed in their story that when Rika-san offers me her handkerchief, it takes me a few long moments to recognize it. Thanking her, I take the cloth and wipe my tears. She tells me that she cried when she first read the letters, too. My amitié partner's words reverberate around the room, sunk into a silence as deep as the ocean. Just like she says, it feels as though Mairi, Rika, and it feels as though we were led here to St. Ancrecum Academy like moths to a flame. Erika-san murmurs, having read the letters after me. Takasaki-san finishes reading the last page too and wipes at the corners of her eyes.
聖母祭の下りだけ違う。この手紙だと委員長だった貴船さゆりが選ばれずにシオン・バスキアが選ばれ、そこから関係が悪化したとあるが。
But in our case, it was the press who was jealous, not Mairi, she says. I look at Rika-san shrinking in on herself as she takes back her handkerchief.
意地悪はよして。
I make my tone firm.
悪い。ま、この時はミテイは二人組だから。違いが出るのは当たり前なのか。
She's right. Until our year, the amitié partner system always put girls together in pairs, which meant that if there was a falling out,
苦しい思いはしたけれど、三人で組めてよかったのかもしれない。悲しいお話ね。
Takasaki-san whispers, wiping at her own tears after reading the letters. For a while, we're all quiet. It's as though we're sending up a silent prayer for the tragic events of the past. The silence settles over me like a fine covering of dust.
最後の貴船さゆりが書いた手紙だが、結びの言葉からすると、シオン・バスキアは亡くなっているみたいだな。
I mean, we already knew that, right? I think of her name carved into the headstone at the old chapel. Here lies a little flower, pure and holy.
しかし、いつ頃の話かわからないが、すでにこの自分には真実の女神の話はあったのかな。どういうこと？聖母役に選ばれたから、神の身元、真実の女神のもとへ旅立ったと考えられるだろう。
I don't understand this sentence. Isn't it possible that went away to the goddess of truth because she was chosen to play Mary? What went away to the goddess of truth? At those words, a chill creeps down my spine. I run my eyes over the final letter, the one left by Sayuri Kifune again.
真実の女神のことは書かれていない。
She writes only that Shion had gone someplace where she'll never see her again. There's no explicit mention of death. No, it says rest in peace. That's very explicit, I would say. I feel as though the truth is right in front of me, but I still can't quite grasp it. The frustration almost has me biting my
お
nails.
じいちゃんにやめなさいって言われていたわね。
Oh my gosh. Oh, that scared me. Yes, Rika, what is it? The sudden loud voice catches me like a slap across the cheek. Although we know we're alone in the building, both Erika-san and I cast our gazes around the area.
ちょっとまだ見回りの時間じゃないからって大きな声出しすぎよ。
珍しくこいつの言う通りだ。何をそんなに慌ててるんだ。
Rika-san, the source of the sudden cry, dashes back over to us from the shelf where the letters were hidden, clutching a specimen jar in her hand.
まさかまだ手紙が。
違うの、もっとすごいものよ。
The jar in her hand is empty. With her other hand, she thrusts a photo before us. I was about to say it's like a photo. The colors are faded. It must be old. The photo is of a girl holding a flower. And the girl is...
まゆり。
Oh, come on. It's not Mayuri. Come on. What is she doing here? No, it can't be.
この写真の裏を見て。
That's probably Shion, right? Dumbfounded, I do as she says and flip the photo over. There on the back is an inscription. Irreplaceable memories with Shion. Which means that...
この少女がシオン・バスキア。マジかよ。高坂まゆりとそっくりじゃねえか。
I see a lot of differences, but okay, sure. Let's suspend the disbelief. They are
この写
similar.
真の子、高坂さんって人と似ているの？そっくりなんてものじゃないわ。双子かって思うほどよ。
Willing my hands to stop trembling, I look again at the image on the front. The girl who looks like Mayuri is gazing into the camera with a bashful smile. I look for differences between her and Mayuri, but there are barely any to be found. The only differences I spot are that this girl looks ever so slightly older, and she isn't wearing the hair clip Mayuri always wore. I see the similarities, but at the same time I look at this picture and I instinctually, oh, that's not Mayuri. Her expression is a bit different maybe. There's just something different. The shape of her face, the shape of her eyes, it's just, it doesn't say Mayuri to me. But I don't know, maybe my perception is just different. Just like when Chidori came along and everyone was like, oh, she looks so much like Mayuri. I was like, I don't think so. But yeah, it might just be me. I'm not saying they're completely different. I do see that there are similarities. I'm just saying when I look at this picture, I can instantly tell it's not actually Mayuri. That's what I'm saying.
まゆり。こいつは因縁めいてきやがったぜ。
まさか死にきれなかったシオン・バスキアが高坂さんに姿を変えて現れたってこと？
Chidori.
真面目な話をしている時にオカルトめいた話をするなと言いたいところだが、マジで笑えなくなってきた。
My ears are ringing as though the air has suddenly grown thinner. My friends' voices sound like meaningless noise. The only things I'm aware of are myself and the girl in the picture. This girl is Shion Basket, who is the spitting image of Mayuri. My inner cosmos seems to expand outward into infinity, then contract inward until it's in danger of disappearing altogether. Then something at the core of me splinters and breaks off, settling at the very bottom. Okay, at least we've made some breakthroughs. We found out some stuff.
こんな蔵書があったなんて。
Still don't understand how this could have something to do with Mayuri's disappearance. But I guess we will see. We'll let it run. Since we switched scenes, just please bear with me. Give me 2 moments to make a quick run to the bathroom. Thank you. Sorry. Okay, let's go back, I guess. When the council meeting ended, I asked Erika-san to stay behind.
伊豆ににこんなからくりが。これも二階屋の会の会長だけが教えてもらえることだったの？
いいえ、この文献を見つけたのはたまたまなの。初めて見つけた時は埃が積もっていたから、八代ゆずり派前会長も知らなかったんじゃないかしら。
I decided to share all the information I have with my Amitia partner. Thank God. Finally. Finally. Oh.
これを部屋に持って行って一から調べるってことね。
一部はエリカさんの部屋に運んでいたけれど。
She opens her mouth about to ask me why before realizing that I've been keeping it a secret from her specifically. Her brow furrows.
ごめんなさい。
いいのよ。私だって標本室で見つけた手紙のことを黙っていたんだもの。お互い様だわ。
I mean, yeah, but you didn't realize that they would be relevant in some capacity or not until you heard the story from her, so it's not really the same, but I guess it honors Rika that she would put this on equal footing and say that they're even. Unfortunately, those words are no comfort to me. I still haven't told Rika-san or any of the others the most important part of all this.
Mayuri.
That you hallucinated, Mayuri? I don't know. I haven't told us all about my meetings with her. After all, revealing that much would not be without consequence. It probably wouldn't be enough to sever the bonds between us.
でも、なぜだか口にできない。
Yeah, that's a little bit on the fantastical side. Like, I still don't understand what that could be. But yeah. It feels as though the moment I mention our encounters, Mary will disappear forever. As though even the reality of my speaking with her through the art room wall in the dark of night will vanish into nothingness.
結構量があるわね。これ全部目を通すのは骨だわ。
ええ。だから流し読みをして、シオンバスキアとアガペのタルパの記述が出ているところがないか、まずそこから始めているの。
確かにきちんと読んでたら新学期が始まってしまいそうだものね。
After pulling down all the volumes from the hidden bookshelf and stacking them up on the desk, Rika-san warily surveys the pile. A pile of unread books is always a sight to make my heart sing, but unfortunately I can't devote much time to these ones.
別に誰にせかされているわけでもないのだけどね。
え？何
？Telling her it's nothing, I start to brush the dust from the piles of books. Until now, I've only bothered to clean the ones I've taken with me, wiping them down with the wrung-out rag.
リッカさん、綺麗好きだものね。
Time passes as we focus on ridding the books of years' worth of dust. Silence fills the space between us like a void. It's not an awkward silence, though. It's an intimate silence that drapes comfortably over us like the clouds of dust that billow up and settle on our shoulders. We've both always liked simple, repetitive tasks like this. First, we hold each book upside down and flip through the pages from beginning to end, freeing the dust and detritus from inside. Then, taking care not to damage the ancient tomes, we use a feather duster, followed by a damp rag, to gently and carefully wipe away any stubborn remaining dust. To finish up, we take 2 cloths and wipe down the front and backs of each volume to rid them of any final traces of dampness and dirt. As we proceed with our tasks in silence, I feel like I've become a character in a fairy tale, given a set role to perform for all eternity.
八代先輩が八代先輩がシオンさんを知ったのはどうしてなのかしら。文献の話を聞いたとき、そこから得たのかと思ったけれど。
She gazes at the dusty tomes.
どうやらこの文献の存在は気づいていないみたいだし。
I don't pause in my work as I answer her.
それは、リッカさんが見つけた標本瓶を 八代前会長も見つけたからだと思うわ。
Leaving out only the parts that might besmirch their reputations, I explained how Yatsushiro-senpai was driven to investigate the specimen room, and Miss Karasumori in order to protect Komikado-senpai.
そんなことがあったのね。ええ。彼女は真実の女神に至る鍵を2つ与えてくれた。一つは旧聖堂を抜けた地にあるシオン・バスキアのお墓。そして2つ目はアガペのタルパ。私も読み解いていくほどに驚いたのだけれど、シオンさんとアミティエの関係、物語はスオさんとマユリとによく似ている。最後聖母祭の後に消えてしまったことも。
Finished with our work, we gazed at the neat piles of ancient, but now clean, books. I reminded of a slowly crumbling grave, of Shion Basket's grave. No, that grave was...
ごめんなさい。シオンさんのように亡くなったなんて考えてないわよ。ただ、鍵だって言うけれど、どんな意味があるのかって。
good question.
意味
Surely learning about Shion Basket and the Talpa of Agape will bring the outline of the mystery into focus? At least that's what I previously thought, but they may just be pointing us in the right direction. Pointing us toward... The sudden sound of the door opening makes me jump about a foot in the air. Cheers, love! The cavalry is here! Oh, yes. Erika is the cavalry. It goes without saying, but the earlier scenes with Rika's narration was her reading the letters. Yeah, I know, I understood that. I put that together, yeah. It was also the reason she was a bit out of it earlier. She had just found them and was both tired and sad over their contents. Ah, I see. That makes sense. Hearing Rika-san and Takasaki-san's amicable bickering, I smile.
もう終わったみたいだな。
でも、ちょうどいいところに来たわ。そうなの？
Yes, time to read.
本を私たちの部屋へ運びたいのだけど、
Oh, all of them,
人手が足
okay.
りなかったの。
あ、それなら私の膝の上が空いてるぜ。
I smile at Erika-san as she pats her thighs. Yet I can't shake the feeling that I'm overlooking something important. At last I'm free to read through the old books in my own room. I can now give them the time and the focus they deserve. That is until the door suddenly flies open in a repeat of what happened back in Iznik.
急にどうしたの？
え？友達が遊びに来ただけじゃん。です。
違うわ。こんな遅い時間にどうしたのかってことよ。
While they're distracted by Rika-san jabbing a finger toward the clock, I surreptitiously slipped the book I was reading into my desk
そいつ
drawer.
は私が答えるとしよう。
The twins crowd into the room, followed by Takasaki-san pushing Erika-san in her chair.
最近深夜のお茶会ってやつをやってなかっただろ。だから久しぶりにどうかと思ってね。
Nice.
エリカさんは参加したことなかったじゃない。
Exactly, she says with a cat-like smile. Takasaki-san's cheeks flush slightly.
私も一度くらいしてみたかったんだけれど、ダメかしら。
She asks us. Oh, it's so
でも、私たちは二階屋の会の会長と副会長だし、みんなの規範にならないと。
そう。
Yeah.
お茶会で花火師さんの紅茶が飲めるのを楽しみにしていたのに。
That's all it takes. Not that I have any objections to the idea myself, of course.
最近は気が張り詰めることばかりだったから、たまにはいいと思うわ。スオーさんはそういうのなら。
話は決まったということで。
From behind their backs, Ichiko-san and Ringo-san produced their night dresses.
深夜のお茶会 in パジャマパーティーを始めるよ。
Pajama party. The pajama tea party progresses as one might expect. We turn the heating up a couple of degrees and change into our night dresses. Rika-san serves us her special tea while we chow down on cookies baked by the twins. Gossip-loving Ichigo-san brings up a topic and Erika-san, ever opinionated, gives her view. Takasaki-san, who tends to look at things from a different angle from the rest of us, chimes in with a startling comment, surprising us all. It feels like forever since I've engaged in such whimsical conversation, which makes me enjoy this time all the more. However, looking back, I suppose it was inevitable with both Ringo-san and Takasaki-san here. Due to their influence, the night is soon headed in quite a different direction to the quaint tea party my Amitia partner and I envisioned. Oh no, are they doing ghost stories? What's happening? Oh, the lights are off. Oh, there's a candle and creepy music. Yes. Poor Rika. Oh no. Oh, poor Rika. Jesus Christ. My immediate partner wails as she clings to my arm. I can't disagree with her, and yet... Chidori and Erika, yeah, they're super cute. Sitting on the bed beside each other. And the twins just giggling mischievously.
千鳥がどうしてもって頼んだからだよ。否定はしないけれど、やろうって言ったのはリンゴもよね。私ばかり先輩扱いはひどいわ。
But she doesn't look at all put out. In fact, she's grinning.
で、私の話は終わったけれど、次は誰にする？エリカとか。
3度目の当番かよ。残ってるストックは委員長にはきつめのやつしかないからな。佐々木姉はどうよ？
体験談ってなるとあんまりないんだよね。前に話した逆さの人形の話とかは？
あれはダメだ。委員長が眠れなくなる。
そんな怖い話があるの？
Oh gosh. Her fingers clutch my arm tighter. While I do feel bad for her, I'm also pleased that she's come to me for protection.
みんなだいたい2巡目を話したわよね。まだ話していないのは。
I expect everyone to look to Ringo-san, who's only told one so far, and Rika-san, who is naturally too afraid to join in. But instead their gazes converge on me. For my first story, I told one about the hospital that I heard from my grandfather. This time...
体験談を話すのよね。
別にそうだって決まっちゃいないが、その方が盛り上がるかな。
That settles it.
それじゃあ、以前私自身が体験したことを話すわ。
Digging back through my memories, I start to tell the ghastly tale.
これは夢の話なんだけれど。スオちゃんも夢の話か。ええ、以前に経験した夢とも現実ともつかないお話なんだけれど。
I set the scene. My mother was in hospital, so it was just me and my father at home.
白羽さんのお父さんも出張族だったのね。ええ、なるべく一人にしないよう家にいてくれてはいたけれど、どうしても6日間家を離れることになったの。そこまで小さな子供じゃなかったから心配することはないわって父を送り出したけれど、父が出張に行って2日目に大変なことになったの。
夜な夜な幽霊が出るようになったとか？や
めてよ。
I stroked the back of Rika-san's hand comfortingly, telling them it was something far less supernatural.
電気が止められてしまったの。
Okay.
電気って？転勤してすぐに母のことがあったから、もろもろ後回しになっていたのだと思う。今となってはね。お父さんに電話したら済む話じゃないの？
I wet my lips and go on.
母のことがあって、すごく忙しそうだった父に言いづらかったの。だから帰ってくるまでの4日間耐えればいいやって。
暗くなったら眠っちまえばいいんだしな。
I nod. I tell them that because the water and stove ran on gas, I was okay for baths and food, but I just couldn't go without my nightly reading session.
処置的にはわからないでもないが、でも電気が止められてるんだろ？
棚の奥に
防災袋があって、その中にろうそくがあったのを知っていたから、日が沈んでからはろうそくをつけていたの。
It was just like this. For a long moment I stare into the flickering flames of the candles. Sensing that my story is about to take a turn, the others remain silent. Dredging up the old memories, I continue on.
日が暮れる前に用を済ませ、暗くなってからはテーブルの上にろうそくを立て、眠くなるまで本を読んだわ。
想像すると雰囲気があって素敵な感じね。
ええ。でも集中して本を読んでいると、やっぱり薄暗さが気になったの。だから初めはろうそくを増やそうとした。でも余分な数はなかった。
That's when my gaze fell upon the mirror in my room.
一本でも明るくなる方法を考えた。それはろうそくを中心に合わせ鏡を作ることだったの。
Oh, interesting.
へえ。
Crafty tiny Suo.
合わせ鏡に曰くがあるのは知っていたけれど、ろうそくを挟んで合わせ鏡をすると、鏡の中にろうそくがいくつも並んで、それに光量が増した気分になったし、私は合わせ鏡の前で本を読むことにしたの。
Feeling inspired, I decided to read my favorite book. The third day of my father's trip passed by without incident.
その言い方だと。
I honestly do not. I don't see where it's going.
4日目になると慣れたもので、夜になると支度をしてゆっくりと読書をした。
そこで夢につながるわけか。
夢の中の私は真っ暗な、突き出した手のひらさえ見えない暗闇の中に立っていた。長い階段の途中だってことに気がついたの。そして気がつくと同時に、体は一人でに階段を登っていた。すごく長い階段だったけれど、疲れることはなかった。けれど、この階段を登り終えたらいけないということだけは直感的に理解していた。
それで
登りきる前に何か奇妙な気配がして目を覚ました。と、ちょうど目の前のろうそくが消える瞬間だった。私は慌てて火の始末をしてベッドに潜り込んだわ。
Suddenly, wind rattles the window and my media partner jumps. The tension in the room mounts. Rinko-san is staring intently at one of the candles.
嫌な夢は見たけれど、それは夢。私は5日目も同じく日中に用を済まし、
すごいね。私的に絶対無理だよ。
明日になったら父が帰ってくるというのもあったし、こんな稀有な体験はもうできないと思ったからかもしれない。私は合わせ鏡の前で本を読み、やはりいつの間にか眠ってしまった。
And I had the same dream again, I say, turning the scene over in my mind as I speak.
夢の中の私は昨日と同じ真っ暗な中、ひたすら階段を登っていた。でも前の日と違うところは、一段階段を上がるたびに疲労がのしかかってきたこと。長く階段を登り、とうに限界を迎えているのに、体は歩みを止めてくれない。苦痛と、そして嫌な予感は強まっていった。階段の終わりが近づいていたの。ようやく終わるという気持ちと、私自身が終わってしまうという気持ち。焦りと恐怖を感じていると、私の目に階段が途切れているのが見えた。
And then... The clatter of the wind interrupts me. As everyone shrinks back, I tell them that I woke up before I reached the top of the stairs, and a palpable wave of relief runs through the room.
階段を登りきることはなかったんだね。よかった。夢の話って結構怖いわよね。
独特の雰囲気はあるよな。
Before they can get further into discussing it, I tell them that my story isn't over yet.
だって6日目にはお父さんが帰ってきたんでしょ？
私もそう思っていたの。
My father didn't return at the time he was supposed to, and as I waited for him, night fell.
夜ってまさか
そう。私はまた合わせ鏡の前で本を読んだの。
Their searching stares all ask one question. Why? I don't know the answer to that myself.
遅くなっているとはいえ、帰ってこないことはないから、本を読んでいる間に戻ってくると思っていたのよ。
On the surface, that was my reasoning, but looking back on it now, I'm unsure of the real reasons. Perhaps I was in a precarious place mentally due to my mother's illness.
その日は読書というよりも合わせ鏡に映るろうそくの火を眺めていた。火をじっと見ていると不思議と心が穏やかになって、怖いという気持ちはなく、ただじっとろうそくの火を見つめていたわ。すると私はいつしか眠りについていた。夢の中で目を覚ますと暗闇の中だったけれど、階段を登っている途中ではなかった。すでに階段の上にたどり着いていたのよ。
それで何か恐ろしいことがあったの？
ううん。その時はまだ。ただ4畳ほどの階段の上で私は椅子に座っていた。
何を？
階段を登ってくる何かを。暗闇で見通すことなんてできないけれど、何かが階段を這ってくるのだけは分かったわ。椅子の上で身じろぎもできず、ただ階段から来る何者かを待っている私。もうすぐそこまで得体の知れないものが来るのがわかる。顔を背けたいけれど動けない。目をつむりたいけれど目を閉ざすことができない。ただ階段を這ってくる音だけが聞こえ、ついに暗闇から白い手だけが見えたの。私はあまりの恐怖に飛び起きたわ。目の前には今にも消えそうなろうそく。そして油汗が額に浮かんだ私を。
And then,
合わせ鏡の中に私がいたの。
それはいるでしょ。だって。
違うの。笑っている私がいたの。恐怖で引きつっている自分ならわかる。でも何人もの私は笑っていたのよ。そして彼女は白い手を伸ばして、その時にようやく父が帰ってきたの。ろうそくの火も消え、彼女も消えてしまった。
I informed them that this is the end of my tale, and everyone lets out a collective breath.
おいおい、めちゃくちゃ怖い話じゃねえかよ。
花火師さんなんて声も上げられないみたいじゃない。
Rika. I quickly looked to Rika-san, who is staring fixedly down at her feet. Putting an arm around her shoulders, I tell her I'm sorry.
大丈夫よ。後半は耳を塞いでいたし。
Oh, so she says, but her hands are gripping my arm so tightly it almost hurts. I stroke her head comfortingly.
そろそろしまいにするか。これ以上はなさそうだしよ。
もう終わりにするですか？
Everyone looks to Ringo-san, who has spoken up for the first time.
なんだ、真打ちの登場か？
ずっと黙っていたからどうしたのかと思ったよ。次に話そうと思っていた階段は組み立てが難しかったですからね。
Oh,
だからどう切
okay
り出すか
then.
考えていたのです。なんだかこっちも期待できそうね。
Beneath the excited chatter, I'm the only one who catches my media partner's whispered, give me a break. I take a sip of my cold tea to hide my
では
smile.
鳥として話しますですよ。私としての階段はタルパが関わったものです。
Go on. The word brings a reflexive gasp from me, and I look to Ringo-san. Everyone else except for Ichigo-san is also looking at her with suspicion, and she smiles faintly in response.
皆さん、タルパをご存知のようですね。確かに階段としてタルパを語るのは珍しいかもです。
なぜその名前を？
以前エリカ先生にタルパで面白い話を知っているかと聞かれたので、 温めておいたのですよ。
So this isn't about the seven mysteries. She must be talking about the time when I asked Erika-san and Co to see whether they could find any references to talpas in general in the library.
そういえば話した気もする。
She admits when Takasaki-san prods her. Then she turns to me and inclines her head in surreptitious apology.
私が話すタルパはきちんとした意味のタルパではなく、
Oh, sorry about that.
形を変えた？
精神修行の際の幻覚的なそれでなく、現代のタルパは自分から望み生み出そうとするものなのです。
From the self.
どういうこと？
自らが空想から作り出す友人。
This latter English term is familiar to me. It's the name given to a psychological phenomenon.
確か自分の中の空想の中だけの友人でしょ？幼い頃によく見られると聞いたことがあるわ。
頭の中だけでなく、自分の目でその疑似的友人を見ることもあるそうなのです。そしてその友人が助言などで助けてくれることもあるとか。
Something you can see not just with your mind's eye, but with your actual eyes?
私がこれから話すのは、長く囚われていた男性が作り出したタルパのお話です。
They can even give advice?
何か大切な鍵を得た気がする。
Staring into the flickering flame of the candle, I speak to the Mayuri inside my head. Wait, we don't get to hear the story? I feel robbed. I feel absolutely robbed. Why? I wanted to hear the story. She snaps her fingers.
正解だ。飲み込みが早い。
Rika's POV ears closed the whole time, sadly. Yeah, I guess we can spin it off that way. She says, the scene is one I never could have witnessed in spring or even in early summer. Our classmates are clustered around Erika-san, beseeching her to help them with their English since she's so good at it. The previous day, Sister Basket informed us there would be an English pop quiz. But that's not their only
八重
motivation.
垣さん、もう怪我の具合はいいの？
ああ、頭はもう平気だ。悪いのは口だけ。
Everyone titters at her joke. I'm sure they're also sticking close to her out of genuine concern for her and her injury. Ever since the ballet recital, she's become more friendly with our classmates, I assume, yeah.
教室での雰囲気も明るくなった。
After Erika-san was injured injured a few days prior, and Takasaki-san grilled me in the classroom over my possible involvement, people walked on eggshells around me. While no one slandered me to my face, the atmosphere was painfully different to usual. However,
頭の怪我？夜中、とある本をどうしても読みたくなったんで、会長殿を誘って図書室へ行ったのはいいが、夜の図書室があまりに怪談を語るにはいい雰囲気でさ、つい舌が乗って会長殿を脅かしすぎたら逆襲を食らったんだよ。
so she breezily told them. Apparently, in my hasty counterattack, I caught my leg in her wheelchair and we both came tumbling down in a case of mutually assured self-destruction.
八代前会長とのいざこざは話せないものね。
The misunderstanding has been cleared up, but I still sense that my classmates have their barriers up when they greet me.
ノーベル賞はいらないけれど、感謝は欲しい。
There's a ripple of laughter, sorry about that, followed by this response from Erika-san. She must have made a funny joke.
クラスメートと打ち解けたのはいいけれど。
Beside her, Takasaki-san's gaze is piercing. I understand how she's feeling. Seeing a close friend getting along like a house on fire with someone else, it doesn't feel good. This is another emotion I never would have felt had I not come to
ご
the
きげん
academy.
よう。
ごきげんよう。
I returned the greeting, then looked toward my Amitia partner, who is surrounded by a bigger group than anyone else.
ホームルームを終える前に発表があります。
Sister Basket's voice cuts through the room. We all look up at her expectantly as she stands there, her hands clasped together as though she's about to launch into prayer. As we regard her quizzically, she informs us that it's about the play. I was actually about to say, like, have they decided on one? What's happening?
皆さんに意見を述べてもらった演劇界での演目ですが、
So she has
私の方で
decided.
決めさせていただきました。
Okay. Chatter bubbles up in the room at this news. Rika-san's hand goes up in the air and she gets to her
演
feet.
目は私たちで挙げたいくつかの案があったと思うのですが、
もちろん皆さんの意見を取り入れた結果です。候補の中から決めさせていただきました。
With the... I don't know how to read that. Okay, with a smile, she picks up a piece of chalk and turns to the blackboard.
今年の送別会に演じる演目はハイかぶり姫です。
The little glass slipper. I don't think I know that one. It doesn't tell me anything. There are different reactions from every corner of the room. Those familiar with the story are saying that it's a little childish. Those who don't know it are sounding out the name in confusion. Then...
ダリア先生、ハイかぶり姫って有名な作品なんですか？ハイかぶり姫はシンデレラのことよ。
Ah, so it's related. Okay, I was thinking it was something different. I was like, I don't really know stories with glass slippers other than Cinderella. So I was like, I don't think I know that. She explains that the story of Cinderella as we know it today stems from an old fairy tale that has been iterated upon many times over the centuries.
なるほど、難しい話なんですね。これは分かっていない時の言いざまですよ。
Bea, as in our very own Tiffic. That's what I also thought. I was like, that's the only thing that comes to mind. That's likely not it. So I decided I would just like, I don't want to, you know, make a mess of it, just skip it. Yeah. I giggle at Ringo-san's lightning-fast barb. Sister Basket claps her hands together to refocus the class's attention.
1次元目は聖書の授業でしたが、今からハイかぶり姫での配役を決めたいと思います。
She declares. Alright. We decide who will play what role for our performance of the little glass slipper. Can I say that? Because I can't read that. I'm so sorry. I don't want to, you know, insult anyone with my like non-existent ability to pronounce things. That's probably German, right? I can't read that. I'm so sorry. Okay. And who is going to make the sets and costumes? At this point, I've lost count of how many sighs have left my lips.
おい、そんなんじゃせっかくのうなぎが浮かばれないぞ。
The broiled eel and rice dish before me is fragrant and appealing, yet I have no appetite.
主役に選ばれたってことで、食堂のおばちゃんが用意してくれたんだ。
Oh, she's
好意は
Cinderella.
受け取るもんだぞ。
Yes, that's how the assignment of roles in the first period panned out.
なぜ私が主役のシンデレラなんか。もっと舞台経験のある高崎さんとかいるじゃない。
人が選ぶのではない。舞台に人が選ばれるのだ。
Across from me, Takasaki-san pauses in eating.
以前役者の先輩が教えてくれた言葉よ。みんなシンデレラを演じるなら白羽さんが適任だと思った。
高崎さん。
いや、今の言い方だと人が選んだ。
Yeah, I was about to say, like, I don't understand.
細かいことを言う女は嫌われるわよ。冷めないうちに食べなさい。それが最低限の礼儀よ。
Chidori using Erika's weapons against her.
そういうのはな、釈迦に説法って言うんだぞ。
She dutifully digs in. I do the same, my chopsticks sliding into the buttery, soft, flaky flesh of the fish. I scoop it up together with some rice, all of it coated in the sweet soy-based sauce. The eel is so tender, it practically melts in my mouth, sending an explosion of flavor across my tongue.
おいしい。
だろ？冬はうなぎだよ、うなぎ。
Erika-san chows down almost reverently, and I follow her lead. My distraction had rendered the food tasteless, but now the flavor comes bursting back in all of its deliciousness.
私的にはうなぎって夏の食べ物だと思うのだけど、土用の丑の日とかあるじゃん。
Ichigo-san, who has been acting rather despondent this whole time, pipes up.
あれは夏の土用の時期は暑さで夏バテしやすいから精のつくものを食べようって始まった習慣だよ。別に旬だからじゃない。
違うの？
うなぎの旬は冬なんだよ。脂が乗っていて一番うまい時期だ。
Ichigo-san carries on making her way through her meal, looking somewhat reluctant. Perhaps she's not really a fan of eel?
なんというか、美味しいからいいのですが。
Erika has possessed the POV.
何？このうな重は主役に選ばれたスオちゃんのためにということを考えると、不本意な役の私たちとしては微妙な心持ちとなるのですよ。
Are you like the mean stepsisters or what? Erika-san takes a sip of her eel liver soup as though it's the world's finest liquor.
ああ、お前ら双子は配役。意地悪な姉と妹だもんね。
Oh no! Oh no! A feline smile curls across her lips. The twins' shoulders are slumped.
なぜシンデレラをいじめる意地悪な姉を私が！いちごねありきとしてセットで配役されたのなら断固拒否したいところですよ。なんですと！それは姉批判と受け取るよ。
お前らが意地悪な姉妹に選ばれたのは昔犯した悪事のせいだよ。ラストサマーみたいにな。
The twins must be familiar with the movie because they quickly protest. Erika-san steps in to try to soothe them.
りっちゃんはいいよね。王様の役だし。
Ooh, she's
偉
the
そうだし。
king. Okay, who's the evil stepmother then? But she probably would have been better off keeping out of it, as Ichigo-san abruptly switches targets.
王様じゃなくて女王様だけれど。
女王の方が偉そうな感じだよな。委員長にぴったりだ。
The queen that mean that she's the evil stepmother, or?
エリカさん、それってどういうことかしら？
褒めているのさ。委員長から副会長、そして女王。
Climbing the ladder.
どんどんのし上がっている。グッドウィルハンティングみたい。
Unfamiliar with this movie reference, Erika-san tilts her head. Actually, Erika-san's reference isn't to the movie itself, but to its then unknown stars. Yes, that's what I was thinking, that in the movie there isn't actually something related to that, but yeah, if you refer to the stars, yep. Their path to starring in the movie was filled with twists and turns until they finally took their places in the lead roles. Still, even without knowing the context, Erika-san seems to detect that she's being made fun of.
私だって高崎さんの役の方が良かったわよ。
Is she the prince?
まあ、確かにその方がハマり役っぽいけどな。
エリカは私には役が似合わないっていうの？
演技力じゃなくて、おのおのの性格を考えたらってことだよ。例えば、シンデレラのママ母役はツワブキだろ。
Council Secretary Tsuwabuki was indeed cast as the wicked stepmother, but why is she perfect for it?
その
Okay, so
なんで
they
って
have
顔をやめろ、全人目。
That means Rika is like the mother of Cinderella, the one who dies? Okay. Or is she the mother of the prince? I'm so confused. Okay. Confused, I turn back to my food. It's starting to cool, so I'd better get a move on for the sake of both good manners and taste.
だが、まあ王子役が千鳥ってのは仕方ないところだろう。男性役として映えそうな顔をしているのは千鳥だけだからな。
それって褒めているのよね。
もちろんもちろん。
誰かさんが 二度同じことを続けて言うのはそう思っていないからだって言ってたわよね。
Sparks crackled between the two of them, and I hurriedly interjected the food is getting cold.
そうね。冷めた料理ほどまずいものはないものね。
私の薫陶が生きてる。
敵役といえばエリカも敵役だわ。魔法使いの役だものね。
ハイカブリ姫の魔女はいい魔女なんだよ。善人なんだ。
Yeah, I was about to say witch? What witch? What are we talking about? And yeah, okay, fairy godmother.
善人?
Now it's Erika-san's turn to look put out at Takasaki-san's laughter. Silence drifts in as we all turn back to our meals, and soon I'm taking the last bite of my eel. It's definitely delicious, but...
私が主役。シンデレラなんてうまくいきっこないわ。
Despite my friend's encouragement, I can't imagine myself as a princess. A quiet but lengthy sigh whispers from my lips. Like... Oh, there we go. Alright, rehearsals for the play progress as smoothly as the transition to midwinter. The play has been performed at the Academy before, which means we're lucky enough to be able to make use of our predecessors' hard work. Okay, so in the end they did choose something that was done before. Sure, Sister Basket. With the performance fast approaching, we were worried we wouldn't have time to make all the necessary preparations. However, thanks to the handbooks, stage plans, and costume patterns that have been left behind, we're able to get things ready in the time it takes for the falling snows to cover the ground and turn everything white. Of course, we don't use everything they left us verbatim, but build our own version of the play from their materials. Still, in what is seemingly becoming the norm, the task of writing the script is left to me, regardless of how much I wish someone else would take charge of it. I have to stay up night after night wrestling with the new script, leaving no time for looking through the books from Isnik. That was creepy. That sounded as if it was in my room. What? Here you go, says a voice. That was so creepy. The rich aroma of freshly brewed coffee fills the room, soothing my frazzled nerves.
コーヒー差し入れに来たわ。
徹夜の友といえばコーヒーだからな。
Rika-san, who was in the middle of discussing the script with me, looks up at the two smiling girls and frowns.
差し入れはありがたいけれど、徹夜の友がコーヒーっていうのは聞き捨てならないわね。コーヒーよりも紅茶の方がカフェインが多いのよ。
She takes an ostentatious sip from her teacup in a show of pride. There are 4 of us gathered in my room tonight.
最近はエリカさんたちが部屋に訪れることが当たり前になってきたわね。
While my media partner and I work on the script, the other 2 are looking through the tomes I brought from Isnik. Their main task is to search for any mentions of the Tulpa of Agape or the name Shion Basket. But there's something else too. We've agreed that they will share any notable info they come across about the 7 mysteries or the origins of the Academy, and tell us if they encounter any concerning passages.
カフェインの含有量で言うと紅茶の方が多いが、茶葉と豆の量、抽出方法の違いからカップ1杯の基準となるとコーヒーの方が多いって話だぜ。
そんな嘘よ。
Oh my god, Rika, calm down!
いや、浮気を知ったくらいのもので言われてもな。
Erika-san seems seems slightly taken aback by Erika-san's reaction. Takasaki-san watches them out of the corner of her eye as she fills another cup. With a practiced hand, she deftly pours the dark liquid from the pot to the cup, a stimulating aroma wafting up from it.
どうぞ。台本の方進んでいる？
ありがとう。大筋はそのままに細部にだけ手を入れようとしているのだけれど。
I let out a big yawn. I must have overtaxed my brain. With my cup in one hand and the script in the other, I am unable to cover my mouth and I flush.
白羽さんはあくびまで可愛いのね。
やめて。
Smiling easily, she peers down at the script from where she stands beside me. She smells like the winter wind.
白羽さんは台本制作だけじゃなく演劇自体の統括、それにシンデレラの稽古までこなしているんだから仕方ないわよ。
I was kind of thinking that, like, she has the main role and she has to write the script. Why does everything, like, land on her shoulders? Jesus. As I look up at Takasaki-san gratefully, Erika-san reminds her that I'm Cendrillon. Okay, it's the French version. Cendrillon, not Cinderella. Chidori being angry all the time in it hid what an impeccable flirt she is. She's great. She's great. I love her.
サンド？何？またお腹が空いたの？
Celine Dion.
サンドウィッチじゃない。サンドリオンだよ。ハイカブリ姫。演劇界で上演するシンデレラ役の名前だ。
Takasaki-san glances at me, clearly uncertain about whether Erika-san is pulling her leg again.
シンデレラだけれど、もともとのお話が各地にあって、それをシャルル・ペローが編纂したのがサンドリオン。ペロー版に影響を受けたというグリム兄弟が編纂したのがハイカブリ姫というタイトルなの。
So that's how it ended up that something that has a German title uses the French name of the character. Oh my god. Okay.
へえ、サンドリオンなんて聞いたことないわ。
どちらかというと、日本で知られているシンデレラはペロー版のサンドリオンの方が近いんだ。
本当？
ペロー版の方はガラスの靴にカボチャの馬車が登場するんだよ。
普通じゃない。
Takasaki-san's expression says that she thinks that much should be obvious. Erika-san jerks her chin in my direction, signaling for me to explain.
基礎となったお話では、ガラスの靴にカボチャの馬車は出てこないの。それに舞踏会は一度だけでなく2晩続けて開かれるとか。
へえ、それじゃあそのペローという人が今の姿に近づけたというわけね。でも私グリム兄弟、グリム童話の方がよく聞く気がするけれど。
I don't know why I remembered the ball to be like 3 days. Was it 2? Okay. Who knows, maybe that's a completely different version as well. I agree with her, sipping on my coffee as I think back on when I read the original Grimm's fairy tales.
グリム童話の方はね、そもそも魔法使いが登場しないの。
え？それじゃあ誰がかわいそうなシンデレラを助けるの？
小鳥よ。白い小鳥が助けてくれるの。
エリカが冗談を言うのはいつものことだけれど、白羽さんがそういう冗談を言うのは意外だわ。
え？冗談ではなくて。
I hear the squeak of a wheelchair. Erika-san pours fresh coffee into her cup and takes a warming sip before speaking.
白羽が嘘をつくわけがないだろう。橋ばみの木の上に止まっている白い小鳥が助けてくれるのさ。
Takasaki-san frowns, but when she sees my enthusiastic nod, she grudgingly accepts it.
他もガラスの靴じゃなく、一晩目の舞踏会での靴は銀の靴、二晩目は金の靴。それと。
Are we getting to what I think we're getting? Let's see. She glances Takasaki-san's way, her mouth curling into a cat-like
よ
smile.
く知るお話ではせいぜい嫉妬して終わりだが、グリム童話では意地悪をしていた義士と義妹にも相応の災いが降りかかる。
Yeah, I think that's what she's gonna say.
王子がシンデレラの残した靴を手がかりに探しているのを知り、姉たちは靴に自分の足を合わせるために。
If I remember correctly, they cut their toes and heels to fit into the shoes, and then yeah, they are basically bleeding into the shoes. And, yeah. She lifts her own leg and mimes slicing off the heel of her foot. Exactly. Takasaki-san and Erika-san both grimace.
そして極めつけは、結婚式に出た姉二人は自分も目立つようシンデレラの両脇に陣取るが、
何よ。
どこからともなく飛んできた白い鳩に義士義妹とも
this
に
part I
両
did
目
not
をつかれ
remember.
目を。
Takasaki-san's head is down, her hands clamped over her ears. Both Rika-san, who's looking a little green around the gills herself, and I are surprised by her intense reaction.
大丈夫？
Ay, Chidori.
ちとやりすぎたか。
エリカさん、どういうことなの？
千鳥は鳥が苦手なんだってよ。だから目をつかれる想像をしたら。
She jerks her chin in the direction of Takasaki-san, who still has her ears covered and her eyes screwed shut.
ひどいわ。それなら今の話って絶対しちゃダメなやつじゃない。
だよな。悪乗りしすぎた。
Yeah. She wanted to tease her, but it kinda went too far. Eriksa-san. She has a new name. She's Eriksa-san. Erika-san reaches out and gently shakes Takasaki-san's trembling shoulder until she fearfully opens her eyes. She then apologizes profusely while Takasaki-san glares daggers at her.
今日は一緒のベッドで寝てもらうからね。
Aww. Aww.
わかったよ。
Demoted. Demoted to Eriksa. I don't know if you noticed, but in the beginning of the stream, when they were talking about Neri and Yuzu, they called Neri Nerina in the translation. I was like, okay, I'm gonna gloss over that, but that was funny. Nerina. Eriksa, yeah, okay. Rika-san and I pretended not to hear their whispers.
その白羽さん、さっきのお話、まさか今度の演目で同じことしないわよね。
Better than Eriksa.
まさかそんなことしないわ。大丈夫。怖いことなんてないから。
Once she's smiling again, I go on to say that it's as Erika-san said.
グリム童話に寄せすぎてもダメだし、かといってペロー版のサンドリオンに寄せすぎると魔女が仙女になったりしているから。
少しずつ演じやすいように変えているのね。
I nod. Rika-san kindly pours Takasaki-san a cup of tea and offers her a cookie.
ありがとう。花火師さんの入れてくれる紅茶、いつも美味しいわ。
Then she picks up the book she was reading through yesterday.
そうよね。
As Takasaki-san looks at the remaining stack of unread books, I overhear the murmur of so many left.
まあ、確かに処置でもなきゃうんざりするよな。
聞こえてたの？
毎日読むのが大変なら。
She hurriedly cuts me off, assuring me that's not the case, but then looking at Erika-san, she trails off.
何か思いついたのなら話してみて。
なんていうか、私としてはシオン・バスキアとアガペのタルパの記述をこの古い本の中から探すことが遠回りに感じるの。
どういうこと？
だってシオン・バスキアでしょ。私たちの担任のダリア・バスキア教諭と他人のはずがない。そうよね。
I remain tight-lipped, not wanting to say aloud what we're all thinking.
だったらバスキア教諭にシオンさんのことを聞けばいいし、長く勤めているならアガペのタルパのことも知ってるかもしれないでしょ。
Some bridges there might have been burnt already, but it makes total sense. However,
以前バスキアという姓について尋ねはした。
but I just couldn't bring myself to raise the name Shion Basket in front of Sister Basket.
実はな。シオンバスキアの名を知って数日後、折を見てバスキア教諭にシオンのことを尋ねてみたんだよ。
Oh no. Why haven't you said anything? Did it go poorly? Oh god, oh god, oh god.
それで
な、情報を引き出せたなら毎夜白羽の部屋を訪ねる必要なんてないだろう。
While her words drip with sarcasm, they're also fragile as glass.
そっか、そうよね。一度聞いて諦めてしまったの？
委員長はあの場にいなかったからそんなことが言えるんだ。 シオンの名前を出した途端、空気が凍りついた音
Yeah,
が
I
聞
would
こ
have
えたぜ。
expected as much.
何も話してはもらえないみたいね。
A curtain of silence falls over the room for a moment. Looking at the clock, I see that it's already past time for lights out. Maybe that's why everything is so still and quiet. The deep, unbroken noiselessness, as though everything beyond this room has dissolved away, sets off a ringing in my ears. The metallic sound of silence.
私はやっぱりシオン・バスキアとバスキア教諭は何らかのつながりがあると思う。八代先輩と小見門先輩が失踪して戻ってきたというのもバスキア教諭が関係していると思うわ。
バスキア教諭が黒幕だって。なんだ、スパイだっていうのか。カジノロワイヤルじゃないんだぞ。
エリカさん、落ち着いて。
ガキをあやすように言うな。落ち着いているよ。
You don't sound like it. She knows better than anyone how untrue that is. She picks up her cup and drains the rest of the coffee in one gulp. Although she's trying to mask her feelings with anger, the faint but perceptible shaking of her coffee cup betrays her inner turmoil.
エリカさん。
なんだ。
辛いのなら私だけで。
Seeing the look in her eyes, I stop myself. But then her gaze, glinting sharp as the edge of a knife, fades into something altogether weaker.
バスキア教諭が黒幕だとは思いたくない。この学院に初めて来た時に解除してくれたことを今でも覚えている。今思うとひどいことを言ったし、やったよ。それでもあの人。
There's something off, for sure. But she's not a bad person. She genuinely does care about the students. I believe so. She trails off, but she doesn't need to say any more for me to understand the depth of her love and respect for Sister Basket.
善意の塊みたいな人だ。まさにアガペだ。無償の愛だよ。
もうやめる？
いや、傷つけたくないだけだ。だから別のアプローチを考える。
Sure that she was about to back out of helping us, I'm now filled with relief.
確かに今のやり方では時間がかかりすぎる。少し強引な手を使ってもいいと思う。
Active measures? What would those be?
強引な手？バスキア教諭が語ってくれないのなら。
Then, the more active measures I came up with were simple. If Sister Basket wasn't going to tell us anything herself, we would have to look at what she left behind. We would sneak into her room just like before. This time, we would be looking for a diary or a photo album, anything that might tell us something about her upbringing. Of course, this had to be done at a time when Sister Basket definitely wouldn't be in her room. And so Erika-san pretended to be sick and Takasaki-san accompanied her to the nurse's office. Or rather, to Sister Basket's room. Since Sister Basket was teaching classes at the time, there would be no chance of her walking in on them going through her things. We put the plan into action during third period when we also knew that Dorm Mother Katabami would be in the greenhouses. The plan itself went off without a hitch, except...
失敗だ。何度も言わすな。情けなくなる。
It's bad. We had planned to meet up in my room after class to hear what they found, but...
どういうこと？まさか片場寮長に見つかってしまったの？
No, they just didn't find anything.
声が大きい。
Unable to bear the wait, I questioned them as we were on our way to the cafeteria for lunch.
どういうことなの？何か不運な出来事でも？
When I stop in my tracks, Erika-san also halts her wheelchair and explains in a bitter tone.
盗人にも仁義ってことわざがあるが、ありゃ嘘だ。
それって、もちろんあの人たちのことよ。
Wait, I'm confused. What? Takasaki-san says from behind Erika-san's wheelchair. After a brief pause, Erika-san mutters to herself incredulously.
八代前会長に邪魔されたの？
小見門前副会長様もご一緒だったよ。ドアの前で鍵を開けようと格闘していたところだったから、肝を冷やしたぜ。
What the heck? What are they doing lurking around the academy? What? I'm more than a little shocked by the revelation. Despite what happened that night in the library, I still hadn't thought they'd go all in on trying to stop us, that they'd turn into our enemies. I hoped that the incident in the library was simply an unfortunate accident. My media partner's question snaps me back to the present. Of course, it wasn't outside the realm of possibility.
それは大丈夫だったわ。ここで騒ぎを起こせばお互いにまずいことになる。だから引くように言われて。
そっちの方がまずいことになるだろうがって脅しちゃみたが、腕をつかまれてな。
Again?
怪我は？
だから大丈夫だったって。ただ、握られた手首が折れそうになったぜ。えらいバカ力してやがる。
手首を。
Reflexively, I take her hand in mine and run my fingers over her wrist. The skin isn't blemished at all, but her arm is so slender and fragile it makes my heart ache.
おい。
ごめんなさい。私が巻き込んだせいで。
まだそんなこと言ってんのか。自分から首を突っ込んだんだ。お前のせいじゃない。
エリカさん。
白羽。
Takasaki-san clears her throat conspicuously, and I realize we've been gazing into one another's eyes. I hurriedly pull away with another apology to Erika-san, who gives me a little wave of her hand.
でも、昨日スオさんが話してくれたときは良い案だと思った。
Yeah, it's always fun and games when we decide to break into Sister Basket's room. How many times have we done it already? I lost count.
いい案ではあったよ。ただ邪魔が入らなければ。
She trails off, her gaze fixed on Rika-san.
何？
いや、委員長はいつもどうしようかって時に打開策を与えてくれるなってさ。
何か思いついたみたいね。
ああ、八代前会長様とコミカド前副会長様に一つ嫌がらせをしてやろうぜ。
Oh, okay, that's what we're thinking. Okay. Okay. Alright, alright. Mischievous.
知ってる？何よ。噂なんだけれどね。また七不思議が現れたって。嘘。どんな話なの？
Yet another one.
それがね、少し前に解決したじゃない？ほら、でも、だってあの事件は解決したはずじゃ。
So that's the
だい
plan?
ぶ噂が広まったみたいだな。
They're spreading the rumor on purpose. Alright, okay. I see. But I guess maybe it's a good place to leave it here and see where this is going next time. I'm also kind of reaching my limit of tiredness. So I think this is a good spot to make a save and just stop for tonight. Yeah, alright. I wanted to at least know what they would get from the room, if anything, because I didn't want to leave it like on a cliffhanger or something. But I think like now it's a bit it feels like a better spot to stop. Yeah. All right, there we are. Yeah, and thank you so much for joining me as always. Oh, I'm lagging a little bit again. Like every time I turn off the game, every time I exit the game, it does that. Oh well. It be what it be. Thank you so much for being here. You both are lovely. For some reason the chat didn't pick up everything that you said, but that's alright. Yeah, for now I will say goodnight. I feel like we got some answers, but there's still questions left hanging in the air, I suppose. I guess we are working our way towards stitching all the pieces of the puzzle together. So I'm curious where this leads. I have no idea what any of this means. I'm so confused by everything. But I guess it also means that I'm open to whatever the story wants to do with it. So I'm looking forward to that, and I hope we get even more nuggets of information next time, if not even a clear picture of something, anything. So yeah, very nice. A lot left still. Let's see how it all unravels. Yeah. Okay, looking forward to that. For now, I will say goodnight. Thanks again for joining me. You're both wonderful. I mean, all of you, because Moss-chan is also around, right? And wish you a nice, lovely weekend. Take care, relax, rest, recover for the week. And I will see you, well, not necessarily with fresh resources because it's going to be a Tuesday, but I will see you on Tuesday and we will pick it up then. Take care. Love you. Bye-bye.